Ryan Berg is here, the director of the CSIS Americas program and the CSIS Future of Venezuela initiative. Behnam Ben Taleblu is the senior fellow at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. And thank you, gentlemen, both for being here. Ryan, I've got to start with you. Very few, if any, details have emerged from the closed-door meeting. Even when the president was asked about the phone call with Maduro, he didn't say much about that. But the question has always been, are you seeking a regime change? It does seem like it's headed in that direction. Where do you see it?
Well, good morning. Thanks for having me on. That was the question of the last several weeks. And we always thought that the president was seeking Maduro's ouster because pressuring Maduro was tantamount to doing counter-narcotics, because the claim was Maduro is the head of a cartel that actually runs Venezuela. And now President Trump is essentially confirming that trying to get Maduro out of office is in fact the goal. And the call that took place just before the designation of the Cartel de los Soles as a foreign terrorist organization on November 24th was in fact an ultimatum call. It was a call where the president allegedly told Maduro, you have a number of days to leave. I will give you safe passage for you and your family to a third country. But after that point, all bets are off. Maduro is still in Venezuela. He was seen yesterday in public at a rally. And so the question now is, what will President Trump do to try to enforce that red line? What kinds of options were discussed yesterday at that meeting to get the dictator of Venezuela to understand that the United States is serious about this ultimatum and the pressure campaign?
Behnam, do you think that this cabinet meeting that's happening today at 11:30 a.m. with the Trump administration will have to do with the actions taken towards Venezuela, potentially the boat strikes moving forward?
Great to be with you, and good morning. Listen, I think absolutely it's going to be a decisive cabinet meeting. But look, the president, even after the cabinet meeting, is likely going to be keeping his options open. Yes, he's looking for a way to, I think, bring about the ouster of the Maduro regime. Yes, to link the issue of great power competition and narco-trafficking and the security of the Western Hemisphere all together. This is an area that both him and many members of his cabinet have spent considerable political space and time defending. So no doubt, I think it's going to be an important one. And it's going to be one that's going to be setting the war of narratives as well as the actual shooting war, the shooting war against the boats and potentially the shooting war that may move to land soon.
Yeah, and Ryan, the alleged drug trafficking boat strikes that were conducted by this administration, there's been a lot of blame on the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. Now it's coming out that it was ordered, but the second strike was one of the admirals that went forward with it, and no one worked outside of the law. That was according to a recent White House press briefing. But they're getting a lot of flack in the media about that. Can you talk to that point?
Yeah, I would just say at the top, I'm not a lawyer and I haven't studied international law, but this is very, very complicated in the sense that it matters sort of what the intent was, what the video shows in terms of what the survivors were doing at the time that the so-called double tap strike occurred. It also matters what the intention was. Remember that I think the United States would be within the laws of war and proper conduct if it was going back for a second strike to destroy the boat itself or the contents or cargo of the boat, which was deemed to be a threat to national security. It would be different, I think, if the second or the double tap strike was aimed at the two who were allegedly hanging on to some flotsam in the Southern Caribbean. So there's just a lot that we don't really know here, but certainly the White House alleges that this was well within the bounds of normal conduct, and I would imagine that until a full video comes out, it's just going to be really hard to say what exactly happened here with any kind of certainty.
Yeah, I'm very curious if they're sort of teeing up a rollover on this admiral or not, who allegedly ordered the second strike. But we'll watch. There needs to be more information that comes to light, and obviously we're working on that. Let me ask you about this, Behnam. Some people believe that the Trump administration may have ulterior motives when it comes to targeting Venezuela. In fact, CNN put this out. So I'd like you to respond to it if you can. But it says Trump is threatening to attack a country with with more oil than Iraq. The United States produces more oil than any other country in history, but it still needs to import oil, especially the kind that Venezuela produces. That's because the United States produces light sweet crude, which is good for making gasoline, but not much else. Heavy sour crude like the oil from Venezuela is crucial for certain products made in the refining process, including diesel, asphalt, and fuels for factories and other heavy equipment. So we are jumping ahead. CNN is jumping ahead to say, hey, maybe this is about oil. What do you think about that?
Well, funny thing, hardline dailies in the Islamic Republic of Tehran, in Tehran in particular, there's a hardline daily I follow called Batana and Ruzer, the country of today, which is amongst the most hardline newspapers, that actually said the exact same thing, that President Trump is here motivated by, petropolitics and oil politics more than anything else. But I don't think, we need to pay attention to these caricatures, whether they're coming from CNN or whether they're coming from the Islamic Republic of Iran. No doubt it would be beneficial for America to have more pro-American states in the Western Hemisphere. No doubt it would be beneficial for America in the world of oil politics to have a friendlier government in Caracas. But ultimately, still, the issue of the Maduro regime is not going to be limited or not going to be solely driven by oil. But I don't think we can deny that oil is a forcing function here. But the caricature, the Trump administration's return of maximum pressure towards Venezuela as being solely driven by petropolitics is to actually kind of replicate those narratives that are coming out of very pro-Maduro and very anti-American capitals.
All right, perhaps we know more. Cabinet meeting, 11:30 Eastern Time, this in the Roosevelt Room, which we'll be watching for that and any announcements made perhaps about Venezuela moving forward. We have Behnam Ben Taleblu and Ryan Berg. Thank you very much.
Thank you.